In today's digital age, supercharging your business isn't just an option, it's a necessity. Whether you're a startup or an established SME, the rocket fuel for this acceleration is data and artificial intelligence. Harness its power to make your business more efficient, more productive, and give you crucial insights. As we stand on the cusp of a new era, the potential of data and AI to solve the big problems in our economy and society has never been greater. But how do you navigate this complex landscape of algorithms, machine learning, and big data? Join us as we go beyond the buzzwords and get the insider view from data scientists. Hear crucial tips on data governance from industry experts and learn from founders and CEOs who say we should embrace this technology, play with it, and like them, reap the rewards. Welcome to the future of data and AI.
So my name is Paul Watson and I direct the National Innovation Centre for Data, which is based on the Helix site at Newcastle. 10, 15 years ago, at the time I was a professor in computer science, we suddenly started to get more and more companies coming to us, and they were drowning in data. They didn't know how to take the data and extract the value from it, which would allow them to change their company. So we managed to get funding for the National Innovation Centre for Data, which allows us to have a team of expert data scientists working with organisations to help them realise the potential in their data.
I'm Musgrave. I'm Industry Partnership Lead at the NIHR Innovation Observatory. I work with small businesses to support them with data and intelligence. I use AI to develop content for presentations, pitch decks, any research that I'm doing. I would use AI to do that.
I'm Rajiv Ranjan, a Professor of Cloud Computing and AI at Newcastle University, and I'm also the Director of National AGI Hub. So the National AGI Hub stands out by focusing on runtime system security, resilience, and dependability, which is not being considered by any other initiative by companies or research groups across the world. So edge computing pretty much using sensors to monitor the behavior of objects, people, and things in real time. For example, you can use edge devices at home to monitor the security of your home.
I'm Hannah and I'm the founder of How Might We Community. How Might We Community is a cross-sector community of problem solvers, and we're using data, curiosity and human connection to tackle some of our region's most pressing social challenges. I'm a self-confessed charity data geek. I first discovered this world whilst I was the CEO of a charity called The Key, and I quite quickly realised that in order to make the best use of the money that we had, I needed to use the data to understand how we created social change.
Neil Herron, CEO and founder of Grid Smarter Cities. We help cities manage their inner city curb space and help operators access the curb space. We're a technology platform. All we're doing is digitising common sense. We're bringing the local authority together with the commercial operator. They have the space, they want the space, and bring the two together with a digital platform, effectively creating a curbside Tinder.
I'm Rajini Rahmadi. I'm co-founder and CEO of Polybox. We do data analysis for marketers and marketing agencies. We do deep learning, AI analysis, and create detailed reporting for marketers. What we really do different is just bring what marketers need instead of creating like a massive platform that can do everything. So we really focus on what every single marketer needs on a daily basis to save time, get insights, and we create the full funnel for that.
My name's Kevin Telford, so I'm founder of my own business called Smarter Decisions. I'm also co-founder of FinPact. I was one of the first people at PC World to build PC World out with Dixon's, and that's where I got introduced to data. And at that point, I decided that I wanted to do something for myself. I worked on the original GDPR strategy. I'm really an advocate that it's our data first. We want data and AI to be really at the heart of the Northeast.
My name's Lucy Batley. I own a company called Traction. We specialise in artificial intelligence, specifically machine learning, and we use design thinking methodologies to write AI strategies. Started my career designing websites and things like, God, I'm showing my age now, CD-ROMs. I always say I'm the granny of tech.
Data is all around us. It's all the information that's generated right across the world in lots of different forms. So it can include emails, spreadsheets, the photos we take on our mobile phones, the data coming from sensors when we're in hospital. Everything is data.
Data is the new soil. Whatever you input in is what you're going to get out. So that goes back to how you communicate with the artificial intelligence as well. If you brief it properly, you'll get a better result from it.
Data is like electricity and AI is like an appliance. Without a reliable power source, the appliance won't function properly. So without proper data, good quality data, AI cannot function. Another analogy is data is like a raw ingredient and AI is like a chef. So a chef cannot prepare a good food unless your data quality is good.
And what we use AI for is to make sense of that data so that we can extract value from it and use it for our benefit.
So artificial intelligence has become a bit of an overused catch-all term. And then you've got to remember that there's lots of subsets of artificial intelligence, for example, natural language processing, deep learning, machine learning.
It's very easy to collect data. The problem is, how do you extract value from it? How do you use it to do your job better? How do you use it to improve people's health? And for that, what we need are programs which can take in data and then can use it to give us new insights, to improve productivity, to create new profitable products and services. The reason AI is able to do this is because it's able to process vast amounts of data. So it can take in data from the internet or from sensors, it can process it and build models that can make predictions or models that can generate new sources of information.
One thing that is very important to understand when we talk about AI is mainly that the data is the core side of it.
There is a lot of data out there, and it's about what data you consume to deliver the outcomes that you need. So if you know what outcome you want, you know what data to search for, and then you look to how to rationalize that data and deliver a positive intervention and a positive outcome.
I would say in the social sector, the data that you've got as far back as you've collected it is useful because you can analyse trends, you can identify, different demographics of the people that you're supporting and how they respond differently to the different interventions. So I wouldn't chuck out any data past a certain point in time. I think that it's all very useful in understanding how you're creating change and helping to forecast where you should be directing your resources in future.
People have been using AI, meaning language models, anything that can learn from something for decades now. Right now, at the moment, most of the buzzwords we hear is from Gemini, that is from Google's side, and we have Copilot that is mainly for Microsoft, and also you have OpenAI, that is ChatGPT, that everybody's using these days. All of them, they have the front face, meaning you can chat with them in any shape or form, but also they have some technical levels as well, and you can use them on data analysis, you can use them on image analysis, image processing, and goes to very detailed levels. So all the major companies that they are providing this, they have different levels that we can use it at the moment.
The original meaning was when the artificial intelligence would be achieved when the computers could start reasoning for themselves. Alan Turing, he predicted that we would reach true artificial intelligence when you couldn't tell the difference between a human response and a computer response.
AI will definitely supercharge businesses by taking out the grunt work.
One of my key things about AI is, why would you start with an empty sheet of paper?
The advice I always give particularly small companies in terms of interacting with artificial intelligence is start small and play.
Using AI to create efficiencies in your organisation is the best place to start. It's easier, it's less controversial, and there are so many different tools out there that you can play with and build them to meet your own personal needs and your own needs of your organisation. What do you need to know about the way your business operates, and what actions are you going to take as a result of having that information?
All companies know that it's easier to retain customers than to get new ones. So the question is, how can you predict before it happens that a customer might leave? If you can do that early enough, then the company can take some action to try and retain the customer, so they can give them a special offer, they can give them a bonus, they can move them to a different product. And we can do that because we can process vast amounts of data and build predictive models which allow customers who might leave to be identified months before they actually do.
You can't break it. So pick tools like ChatGPT is a really good example of what we call generative AI, because it's predicting what the next word is and predicting based on a huge data set. It's called prompt writing, but I like to think of it as briefing. So think of it as if you're briefing a colleague or an intelligent intern, and you have to have a dialogue with the AI. Just keep going back and saying, that's not quite what I want. Can you do it like this? Can you do it in a different tone of voice, etc.? It's a different way of thinking for us, and we are actually training the models. So the more everyone's using the models, they're using the data from that to train them further.
For content and marketing and personalisation, lead generation, where you're looking to engage with someone at the right time in the right moment with the right message, AI can supercharge your growth. And it's having that understanding of what AI is capable of doing.
Just consider an example. If you're a manufacturing company, you can use cameras to track how fast your workers are working. You can use the cameras to track how fast you are producing the products to the market. So AI and data, if used in a proper way, can actually transform your businesses, can save money, save life, and also satisfy your customers to a different level.
With generative AI, we have ways of generating videos and images and text. So, for example, marketing companies might be able to generate a starting point for a campaign, both the adverts, the copy, the strapline for it, all using generative AI.
If there is any smaller company or even like a medium-sized company that they don't have a massive department for every single thing, if they can accept it and welcome AI, even in the manual tasks that they are doing for like documentation, for like even recording, writing minutes, gives you a kickstart for research, for analysis, for anything.
Historically, it was always really expensive in terms of subscriptions, but now it is so readily available, so widely used, that I think the advancements and the utilisation is going to be breathtaking.
So, but yeah, just be careful. Always say please and thank you in case they do become sentient.
Many organisations are approaching AI as a silver bullet.
They think it can do everything, but at the end of the day, it goes, analyzes, and based on what it learns, it comes back to you.
Artificial intelligence is not a silver bullet, it's not a fix-all. It's about having a specific problem and using the technology to fix that problem.
They're looking at bringing AI against a problem or a statement. To get the right AI, you need to assess what your actual problems and needs are. It's looking at the problem, but also the talent and capabilities and capacities that you have to be able to choose the right AI and deploy it successfully.
AI cannot replace human judgment or solve every problem that we can ever dream of. Instead, it augments our decision-making power and requires careful consideration, validation, calibration, and oversight of human being all the time. So AI can only work when human is in the loop. It is by no means a silver bullet.
Companies often come to us thinking they need the latest AI solution to solve their problem. And actually, when we dig into it and understand what they really want to do, we can find some old statistical technique from 200 years ago that solves the problem with no risk. And so that's the one we will use.
Personally, I don't think it's cheating. I think it's giving you a competitive edge. However, I always check the sources that it's pulled out. So I think one of the benefits of AI is you get the source reference at the bottom of the page of whatever it searched for you. And I always go into that link to make sure that is a robust source.
I've spoken to people who think that it's cheating to use AI, and the response I always give is that if I asked you a really complicated mathematical question now and you didn't use a calculator, I would think you were bonkers.
There are going to be negative aspects to some of the use of data, but it's about control and management and policy and legislation, and if we have the legislative framework that sits around it, then it won't be used and abused.
So I think the main reason that people are not trusting AI that much this time because they have limited knowledge. And in fact, to the society, in the school, in the universities, in the hospitals, we need to provide AI safety training where people can differentiate between what is ethical use of AI and what is not ethical use of AI, when AI is bias-free, when AI is not bias-free.
Ethics and trust should be at the centre of everything that you do as a business. Lots of privacy concerns about data and use and misuse of data. The problem that we've got is that companies are taking data without people's consent or that they're not aware of it.
If you're an SME and looking to adopt AI, You need to have a good framework in place. So that framework is about trust and ethics and values. How can you explain that? How can you be transparent with that when machines are deciding the outcomes without human intervention? That for me is where governance bodies need to come together and agree the standards, the principles, the regulations. Because in that environment, when the AI is run away, it'll be too late to grab back.
Typically, when people first come to us, it's because they've got a lot of data and they don't know what to do with it. So the first thing is to visualize it and do some initial exploration in order to get some idea of what they've got and what the potential is.
And generally what we try and do is understand what's the business problem behind it. What's the problem we're trying to solve? Lots of organisations have lots of data and they want to get in there and they want to do something with the data, but unless you've got a really focused business problem you're trying to solve or an opportunity, you can end up going in circles looking for things in the pool of data and not really getting much.
Let's say you're trying to understand transport or pollution. You might have data from satellites, you might have it from cameras by the side of the road, but you'll also have other sorts of data. So you might be picking up sound, so you to understand about vehicle traffic. You might have pollution sensors that you're picking up as well. So what you need to do to get a better view of what's going on is not just to use one of those sources of data, but to integrate them all together to give you this more holistic view.
We need to be making data-driven decisions. This is repeated all the time, and I have a lot of empathy for people who hear this on the daily, because it's what I used to hear when I was in an operations management role. Please make data-driven decisions. This is how we want our business to move forward, and this is how we should be, making decisions about all elements of the organisation. We have lots of software and services available to support businesses and to make the most of their data. But there's still a certain level of discomfort about allowing these tools and technologies to make decisions on our behalf.
At NIHR, we try and make it accessible because we think that the people who are already operating and working in organisations, they know the best about the problems and the opportunities in the organisation. So if we can empower them with some data science capabilities, it means they can continue doing what they're doing, but even better. The hard bit is after that. It's how do you build your business model around that insight? How do you make sure that that's part of your processes? How do you make sure that's part of what your people do in your business all the time? Parts of what we do at the National Innovation Centre for Data are around proving the concept, about giving the skills that people need within an organisation, but you have to make sure that's embedded. You have to build a business model around that data-driven insight. That means cultural change, it means change higher up in an organisation to ask the right questions, and it means supporting that change as a digital transition starts to happen.
AI will get some of our jobs, but there'll be more jobs that will be created by the use of AI.
The question I get asked more than anything else is, will AI take our jobs? That's what everyone's really, really nervous about. It's either, will AI take our jobs, or are the Terminator, Skynet robots going to kill us?
Currently, people are not trusting AI that much. There are two reasons for that. One, they think AI is taking away their job, which is not correct, because AI is actually not taking away your job, just making your job better and safer.
Yes, it might make some jobs easier. Yes, it might replace majority of your tasks on daily basis, but it cannot get rid of the jobs necessarily. People who are not getting used to use AI on the daily basis of their jobs, those are the people that they're going to be in danger, because it's becoming part of a job description.
One thing that might stop people engaging with digital transition and data in general is this perception that it might be replacing the staff you've got at the minute with different people with different skills. The best thing to do is upskill the people you already have in some data skills so they can solve their own problems. They've already got that business knowledge, they've been working in your organisation for a long time. Equipping them with some data skills or some digital skills means that they can do that job, but even better.
Anyone in the world that their job involves a little bit of a technology should explore AI, so they just know at least what it is. If they don't want to use it, that's the decision that that company, that person can make.
For people who doubt what data could do for their organisations, I think they should look around at what their competitors are doing and what organisations in other related sectors are doing and see how they're moving ahead through data. And I'd also say, what we're trying to do with data, a lot of it is to give you new insights into your organisation and what you're doing and allow you to make better decisions. And it's hard to imagine any company wouldn't want to do that.
The important thing is about reskilling. So jobs will go and new jobs will come. So the example I always give is that cybersecurity didn't exist 20 years ago, and now that's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
What we've got currently at the curbside is a first come, first served free-for-all. If you're a commercial operator, you're coming into town, you're circling around, you're double parking, you're trying to squeeze into some space, you might get a penalty charge notice. And we're taking that away to make that space available and bookable. So instead of first come, first served, it becomes a managed piece of real estate. We work with the local authority. They'll identify locations that they want to turn into physical permit bays, where we have a smart sign which indicates who's made the bookings and a smartphone application or a back office application, so the driver or the back office can book the slot on a regular basis or on an individual basis. We've got the operators who identify the locations where they're having problems. So there's a push from the local authorities to say we have these spaces available, but then we can work with the operators to say we have problems in these areas, can you have a look at how we solve the problem there? So it's given the tool for both parties to come together and work together. We wouldn't build an airport these days and just tell the planes to turn up to whichever runway that they could turn up to and just have a free-for-all there. There's one big supermarket operator that currently is using the bays, but instead of using a 13-ton truck twice a day, they're using a bigger truck to deliver once a day. So you've now taken 2 vehicles out of the equation, replaced with one vehicle, because they're guaranteed a slot which is 2 bays length outside the store. And for the operators, they can start looking at their real problem locations and what their optimal delivery profile would look like, and then work with the authorities to say we can bring a bigger truck in rather than 10 or 12 trucks a week. It'll be 4 or 5, and all of a sudden you're just nudging that behaviour into a better outcome.
So AI can actually help you make your day-to-day life easier and safer, but depending on your context and how deeply you need to employ AI into your day-to-day workings. For example, when I'm doing a research, writing a paper, I need to review 100 papers. And if I manually read those 100 papers, it will take me like 6 months to 1 year. But if I use AI and data tools, they can summarize, review those papers in like a couple of hours. So that means the innovation that I will be doing after 6 months could be done in 1 or 2 weeks. So this is how AI and data can actually help scientists, business owners, and data analysts to innovate better, faster, and a safer way.
AI can be an impact for change, positive change. If you look at some of the advancements in health tech, using AI to go through patient records and pull out prompts and to synthesize information in patient records. Obviously, that's heavily regulated and scrutinised, but just an example of how AI can make us more productive and efficient.
When we take information from patients at the moment, we've got their medical records, but nowadays we can add sensor data for them. And by combining these two things together, you can get a much more precise idea of what the problem is that the patient is suffering from.
I was diagnosed with Parkinson's 5 years ago, and what I'm currently undergoing is that every 6 months, 12 months, I'll see the clinician and I'll be asked how I've been, how's the medication been, how are you feeling, etc., etc. What we want in the future is the wearable devices connected to the apps, look at your medication, your health, your fitness, your training regimes, your exercise regimes, how the pain's been, and the clinician will then go, when you turn up for the appointment, you'll have a data dashboard, which is this was an intervention, that was an outcome. So you can look at what best works for you and what best works for others, and you create data and insight across the whole of the sector of society that's dealing with Parkinson's or MS or any other illnesses, where you can predict trends. And the prediction of those trends will then lead to interventions and outcomes from a medical perspective that will lead to a better quality of life for people.
This will be a big area where AI innovation helps people live longer, detects anomalies. We can see patterns in people with Alzheimer's, dementia. We can do preventative medicine. There's already AI in patches for different life cycles, personalizing drugs so that you get a personalized drug at the right quantity, at the right time, and it becomes just part of your living.
Doctors can use AI to diagnose a disease faster as compared to manually diagnosing it. The truck drivers or the bus drivers can use AI to prevent them from making mistakes, because AI can tell them, you don't change a lane or you don't go to the next turn because the accident has happened.
So the Innovation Observatory is the National Horizon Scanning Centre for Health and Life Sciences. We're headquartered in Newcastle, but we're national and in fact global. So we have global partners. There's a team of 80 which are based in the Catalyst, which is the innovation district of the Helix at Newcastle. We have the largest healthcare data set in the world. The Horizon Scanning reports that are available on the website are open use, and if you were an SME that's either starting out or looking to grow, you can actually go into the reports yourself, analyse them, see what the trends are, what the signals are, what's being developed in the market, who's developing what, and it'll provide you with a free business support tool. The data science and AI team within the Innovation Observatory use AI to create tools which will then extrapolate the data and produce research reports, evidence and dashboards. One of the methods that the Innovation Observatory is expert in is evidence synthesis, which is basically checking the source of the data and any evidence to make sure that the source is a robust source and that it's open and honest and it has integrity. Even though we can't rely on AI to predict the future, it's a tool that we use to support our predictions and our horizon scanning.
I imagine a future where AI does all the things that you don't want to do, so the mundane tasks.
Back in the day, I used to have to do really in-depth research papers, ministerial departments, ministers, and now I could probably do that in about 5 minutes.
Data will be everything in the future, because now every decision has to be based on evidence, and we see more and more domains where we need to make real-time decisions. Humans can't make real-time decisions. So real-time decision will be based on real-time, good quality data. So data is going to be the main driver driving our society, our day-to-day lives, driving our innovation, driving our safety, driving our healthcare.
I don't know if this is a trend that's definitely coming, but it's a trend that I want to see. And that is people really understanding how powerful their own data is, having more control of it. I mean, I'm an obsessive with, data that I'm collecting on I'm sleeping or like what my heart rate is like. In a place where people have got that control over their own data and that their ability to decide who has it and what they use it for.
I think anyone who is young right now in high school, they're just started their university, or even the parents that they want to shape their children's future, they need to put AI somewhere.
So education needs a full overhaul where we need to train our educators and our students on safe use of AI so that AI is not hindering their learning process. Otherwise, we are running a danger where our students, our kids will just use AI to do all their assignments and coursework. And actually, AI is learning, AI is solving the problem, but our kids are not learning or solving the problem.
Some huge issues now where the universities, everyone's writing their dissertations and their theses with AI. We need to have a shift from exam-based results into training for critical thinking, judgment.
We'll need talent and skills to be able to move with AI. And therefore, it's about retraining and developing people that are displaced. We might be looking at call centers, for example. How do we retrain against those trends that AI will be prolific? It's here to stay.
What we need to do is take the efficiencies and the profits from automating tasks and invest that in saving the planet. Otherwise, we're going to have all this fantastic technology and nowhere to live.
It's always hard to predict the future, but as more and more data becomes being generated everywhere, I think we'll start to see more integration of different sorts of data together to give a more holistic view of what's going on. My hope is that data can help us to benefit society more widely, because I think the public sector as well as the private sector will be able to make better decisions, and that will be to the benefit of all citizens, not just the companies.
Our exploration of the future of data and AI shows how human creativity combined with machine intelligence is reshaping our world, using it to empower the charity sector, for smarter urban mobility and for cutting-edge healthcare. As we move forward, let's remember that the true power of data and AI lies not just in the technology itself, but in how we choose to apply it for the benefit of our businesses and communities. What role will you play in this unfolding story? How will you use these powerful tools to make a difference in your research, your industry, your city? The future of data and AI is definitely not set in stone. This next chapter is yours to write, one data point at a time.